want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Madmen of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Good
Yo,
day.
yo, yo. I am Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Madmen of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
That's right. You know,
Yes, sir.
I can't tell if we live stream the recordings or record the live stream.
Yes.
But man, we were honored to be on air in the Denver metro area, FCC Radio, KLDC 1220 AM in the Mile High City, Wednesday evenings and Saturday mornings. And man, and then we come live. You know, then we figure, hey, if we're gonna be on here, why don't we do live on Facebook and YouTube and all of that good stuff? And so, you know, folks that are all of a sudden seeing this pop up on a timeline might be like, hold up, man, y'all normally do this on Monday, man, but what's up with the extra day? Well,
we had a holiday.
we had a holiday, man. Had a holiday.
Holiday season.
Had a holiday. Had Memorial Day, man.
Yes, sir.
And Memorial Day. You know what drives me kind of crazy? It drives me kind of crazy when, well, among other things.
You put in your mouth that you chew on.
Hey, man, don't judge my.
See, there it is.
Don't judge my jazzercise, man. Shout out jazzercise, holler at your boy. But anyhow, man, you made me forget what I was gonna say. Oh, what drives me crazy is so on the on the holiday Memorial Day, when people just like honor veterans and just in general, and it kind of it drives me crazy. For one, being a veteran, but for two, you know, I think it's kind of cringy for most veterans to like get kudos on Memorial Day because, you know, generally speaking, Memorial Day is when we observe those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, who have given their lives. So I always say, if a veteran can hear you and thank you, or say you're welcome, it ain't for him. The holiday for him. So, you know, on behalf of veterans, we appreciate the love, obviously.
Yeah.
But just so folks know, Memorial Day is like it's for the ones that are, you know, that came back maybe in a flag drape. And so we honor them. So anyhow, so yeah, that's why we on here recording this thing on a Tuesday. So check us out. If you listen to us over the air, holler at your boys on madmenradio.com, Facebook, YouTube, all that kind of stuff, man. Man, I was giving some big kudos, big shout outs. I went to this nice jazz club here in downtown Denver called Nocturne, man. And I was speaking to the general manager and then the owner, and I was telling them about the radio show, and they were all kinds of interested. And you know, I told them like, man, sometimes we speak to men, and sometimes we speak for men. And depending on what the topic is, man, I told them, you know, we just kind of put it out there. You know, you got your perspective, I got my perspective.
We got ours.
You know, we're not speaking for each other. A lot of things there's overlap, but a lot of things there's difference in perspectives and just experiences and all that kind of stuff. But I told them, you know, that that ultimately sometimes we speak to men, sometimes we speak for men. I think today we're kind of speaking for men, I think.
Yeah, I think more likely today is for men, but we will be speaking to men for those who want to listen, who may be, you know, looking at this subject, maybe having some experience with these ladies and may need some, you know, different perspective, if you will. Because, you know, and I got my race gear on, ready. We're off to the races. We're going to, you know, buckle up. This is going to be a bumpy ride. This is going to be one of those ones where we're going to get some hate for it. And you know what? We're ready for it. I'm ready to go.
Maybe I should put on my hard hat or my safety vest. Maybe I'll put on my safety vest for the next segment. I'll put on my safety vest. But today, man, you know, I was listening to something, I forgot what it was, and I came across it was a video, and for some reason the term was just used several times by this lady
Mm-hmm.
that was talking, and it really just kind of man, it was kind of like nails on a chalkboard because she used the term several times to describe herself as a strong, independent woman. I'm a strong, independent woman, and she was proud of that. And good for you if you proud of that. I don't know if and she was speaking in the context of interacting with or finding or dating men and that kind of stuff. Being a strong, independent woman in the dating scene or
Right.
these men out here and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if women really understand what that term or what that whole image, what that brings up and what that does to men in terms of what we think about strong, independent women, quote unquote.
Yeah. Well, there, when we decided to do this topic, I was thinking about it because we've done things like this before, and it was just what tends to come up for me and for a lot of guys we talked to, and then we had just had the Be Men monthly Beers, Bros, and Bucks thing, and basically had a roundtable discussion about a lot of this, and this topic came up, and what struck me was that just like with alpha males, when you're this person that needs to say I'm a independent boss babe, I'm a strong independent woman, or I'm an alpha male, probably the likelihood is you're not. Most of the time, those who are the boss babe, those who are the leader, the boss guy, whatever, they don't say it, they just do it. And to that point, what do men think about when they hear a lady, especially in the dating sphere, say, I'm an independent boss babe? What we hear is, well, you're probably in your masculine. Where do you need me? Like, what's my job? If you were an independent boss baby, you got it all figured out. What am I supposed to do? Plus, in most of our experiences with a lot of ladies who say these things, they come off masculine. They come off as a ball buster. They also come off as very critical and high maintenance. And so, for most of us, especially single guys who've been around the block once or twice, when we hear this, we usually tend to go, all right, we'll see you later, and walk to the other side of the room, go there, head for the door, because that's not the type of connection, that's not the type of woman that we probably would match with. It doesn't sound like the type of woman that would be much fun, doesn't sound like the type of woman that would bring us peace. And so most of the time when we hear that, we're taking a left and see you next time.
Especially as men get older.
Mm-hmm.
As men get older, we have less tolerance for that. I mean,
Yes,
we got less tolerance for just like fighting and trying to trying to see who's bigger and trying to ain't nobody got no time for all that, man. We just want peace. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like the older we get, man, we just want peace. And maybe that's why ultimately when we die, they say rest in peace. Because ultimately we want that to be our end goal, man, is just
Yep.
peace. And the older we get, man, the less it's like, you know, and yeah, I expect this to be offensive to some, and I'm gonna get back to some of the offensive stuff or some of the beneath the surface offensive stuff. But man, the older we get, man, it's like ain't nobody got no time for all that, man. I ain't trying to hear all that, man.
I already got a
You can take
job.
that.
I already got bills to pay. I already got stuff to do. I got plenty of responsibilities. I don't need no more of that. I don't need no more stress. Why are you trying to bring extra stress into my house? Stop it.
And then in that it's like, man, we got so many battles that we got to fight as men. We got just even the stigma of having to just carry whatever load or having to
Mm-hmm.
just grind and having to achieve and excel and accomplish. And I'm talking good men. I ain't talking no deadbeats out here. I'm talking the good men, which by way more than half of men are good men. Most men are good men. And we out here grinding in a central. I just made that word up a masculine
Masculine centric.
central yeah, that's what world in terms of the workforce.
Yeah.
In terms of us, trying to achieve and excel and compete and all these other kind of things. And the last thing a man that's a little bit older in the years wants to do is compete when he gets home. It just ain't appealing.
Well, and that's what we hear, and that's what we feel when we hear some lady, touting, "I'm an independent boss babe," and "I'm a strong independent woman." Well, we feel, and we hear, and we see that you're in your masculine, and so both of us can't be in our masculine. One of it, if you want to have a beta male in his feminine, and you want to be the alpha boss babe in your masculine, that might work. You get the polarity. When you're saying I'm the independent boss babe, and I want a masculine man, there's going to be conflict because you have two masculine energies coming together that are competing, that are going to be butting heads, and they'll be causing arguments. And no man who is actually that top tier man that most of you ladies say you want is going to put up with that. They don't want that. And most of those guys don't even settle down anyway because they got all you chasing them. So they have all the options. But in this light of dating and relationships, when we hear independent boss babe or I'm a strong independent woman, we hear critical, masculine, and a problem. And so just from our perspective, as the Mad Men of Masculinity, take it or leave it, when we hear that, for us, it's a next. It's, we'll see you next time. Talk to you later. Because what we want is a feminine woman. So if you're a feminine woman and a feminine boss babe and you're operating out of your goddess energy, we're all for that because we've met several. We've had several on the show who operate from that energy, and not one of them ever said, "I'm an independent boss babe. I'm a strong independent woman." They held down their jobs, they held down their career, they did all stuff, but they stayed in their feminine. And so for you ladies listening to this, you can take the criticism or can take the input. We're not saying don't have a career. We're not saying don't be good at what you do. We're not saying don't be strong and independent and all that, but do it from your feminine nature, from your goddess nature. Stop trying to be a man and do that, and then try to find a man to come join with you.
See, I happen to be a heterosexual man, and I'm positive. As a matter of
Okay, just
fact,
checking.
I'm very positive. I happen to be a heterosexual man, which means I don't enjoy in certain spaces of my being. I don't enjoy the company of another heterosexual man. I
Yeah.
don't want men in certain spaces of my life. And if you're leading with that, then you're leading with a masculine. And I don't need that. I just don't need that. I don't need that kind of smoke in my life in a whole lot of ways. And matter of fact, when we get back from this break, man, I'm a float out there why I think the quote unquote strong independent woman doesn't even want to be a strong independent woman. I think I can make a slight case for why I think that's a falsity and it's something that she don't even want to be when she leads with that whole thing.
So you think it is bravado? You think it is putting on front? You think it is just acting a certain kind of way?
I tell you what, when we get back from this break, I'm gonna break it down. When we get back from the break, I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna break it down to proportions for the public school kids. We'll be right back. Madman and Masculinity on KLDC. All right. Where you go?
I had to change that. I had too much light in my face.
Oh,
I get washed out. Cool. I'm already whitening up. Yeah. I don't need to be white any whiter.
Well, I wasn't gonna say it, but
I know you was thinking it. I could hear in my mentals. I could hear you thinking it.
You hear in your mentals. It ain't my voice. You got voices in there, but it ain't me.
But yeah, so, we all got our voices. Are you ready?
All right. Yeah, let's roll.
And we're back.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. Your boys are back. Your boys are back. The boys are back in town.
Boys
like that old, I forgot that old song from Beverly Hills Cop. The boys are back in town. I forgot who sings that song. Put it in the comments if you know who sings that song.
Yeah, you had a point to make before the last break about how you think this whole independent boss babe thing is a front.
Yeah. Again, and my opinion is what it is. People ain't got to agree. I mean, I hope you don't agree. I like being around people I don't agree with. If you don't agree, put your comment, what your thought is, what your opinion is in the comments, and we can have a discourse. We can have a dialogue. I think when a woman leads with "I'm a strong, independent woman," she's trying to impress other women, and she's trying to be something. She's trying to be masculine to impress other feminine, which it becomes a circular logic because then that other feminine becomes masculine to impress another, and it just keeps going on and on and on. like an old Sasson or whatever that shampoo commercial was. Um, but I don't think I don't think it's genuine because I don't think that's operating out of the naturally gifted space that most women have, that being their feminine. And I say that, you know, when you lead with I'm a strong, independent woman, I can almost guarantee that that applies until the captain of the Titanic says it's time to abandon ship.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, I guarantee you ain't the first one stepping to the back of the line, putting, you know, the men and children in the lifeboat. If you lead with I'm a strong, independent woman, then why do you get twinged a little bit when you go out on a date and a man is slow to reach for the check?
Mm.
You know, if you're a strong, independent woman, then, you know, why does it somehow irk you when you come into a relationship with a beta or a soft natured man, and you got to carry the space, you got to carry the load, you got to carry the weight of the moment, you got to be the flagpole and not the flag. You know, why do those things irk you when you're in the space of a man who doesn't take action, when you want a man to plan dates and open car doors for you? I've never seen a woman get flattered by having to open a car door for a man, or being honored to open a car door for a man, or walking into a building and say, "Hey, baby, let me open that door for you," unless he's maybe, you know, mobility impaired or something like that. But I've never seen a woman that took pride in that. So I
Mm.
believe that the whole we're strong, independent. You can be strong. You know, if you want to call yourself independent, then you automatically saying you don't need me or nobody else. And if you're strong and independent, then that means not only do you not need me or anybody else, but you are lock-headed and thick-headed in your belief that you don't need anybody else. So you stating right up front that there's no space for me in your life. And I just don't believe, as communal as women are, that the whole notion of being strong and independent really concurs with the nature of a woman. Women naturally gravitate to each other and they lean toward each other and they lean into relationship. And so the whole idea of a strong, independent woman to me is an oxymoron. It's something that really, you know, it doesn't exist. It's like, you know, it's like something they study at Area 51.
Well, I mean, it's just another one of those kind of outcomes of the feminist narrative of, hey, be a strong, independent woman, focus on your career. And then we are starting to see the aftermath of that thinking and that logic because we have so many ladies now who did focus on their career, who want to have a family, want to have kids, who can't find a man because they've gotten to a certain age or got to a certain sphere. Plus, there's this double-edged sword of I'm a strong, independent woman, but I still want a traditional relationship with a traditional man. So I'm going to operate out of my masculine because that's what I've been taught to do as a strong, quote unquote, independent woman. And then I want to find a masculine man to fulfill me and to take that role as the masculine man. But if you're in your masculine, there's no room for him to be in his masculine. And if he's in his masculine and he sees you operating from your masculine energy, he's going to go the other way. You know, there's only room for one dude in this relationship. We need to have a dude and a girl. That's just how it's made. That's how it works. That's how it works best. So if you're thought process is I'm a strong independent woman, and then you say that, you're basically telling the guys around you there's no space for you. Plus, I'm in my masculine, and I'm gonna be a headache and a pain in your butt because I'm going to be critical. I'm gonna be hard headed. I'm going to tell you how it's supposed to be. And I've talked to so many ladies now who have gone through their divorce and now on the other side and have learned from it and can see their ways in the past of, well, I was just trying to make him the best version and trying to make our family work. And so I felt like I had to take that burden on myself. And so I was very critical and it had to be my way. And it had to be, you know, all these things done just how I wanted to do. And then I felt like I was responsible for everything, which means you didn't leave room for your man to be the man. And of course, he probably was in this nice guy syndrome, nice guy phase, and didn't step up and say, no, baby, let me do that. You step back. Let's have some boundaries here. Let's have some structure. I'll do the masculine side, you do the feminine side. So all this, I'm a strong, independent woman. I mean, and we hear that, and a lot of us guys, especially because most of us have been quote unquote strong, independent men, being single, living on our own, cooking our food, washing our clothes, paying our bills, being an adult. And for a lot of us, when we hear, I'm a strong, independent woman, I pay my bills, I take care of my kids. Welcome to adulthood. That's what you're supposed to do.
There's no there's no ribbon for taking care of yourself. There's no medal for like you said, for doing what you're supposed to do. That's just, I mean, when guys make a big deal about paying child support or taking care of their kids or being there for their kids, man, dude,
That's
I
what you're
paid child
supposed to
support for
do.
over 2 decades, right? Like, I mean, I shudder to even go back and try to do the math on how much child support I paid
Don't do it. Give me
over
some
the
heart
course
attack.
of my life. I don't even want to know. And and it's just the reality of the fact that's a byproduct of my choices and failures in life. But that don't give me no medal, no ribbon. There's no achievement award. Kids graduate preschool and they get a little paper plate awards. There's no paper plate award for I paid my child support and I went and hung out. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm a father,
Mhm.
and it's 100% father. I mean, whether my, kids' moms did what they did or not, that's what I'm supposed to do. And if you want to do that, it goes both ways. How about that goes both ways? I mean, if you're a single parent at all, whether you're a single mom or a single dad, the things that you do, yay for you. I mean, shouldn't be a more credit because of your gender, because you're a mom or dad, that you were a parent, if you will. So the whole idea is, yeah, I'm like you said, I'm adulting. I pay my bills and I'm this and that and whatever. Okay, good for you. Now I recognize though that society almost pushes women indirectly to claim that as
Mhm.
some kind of sign of strength, but I think, ultimately, to me, it comes off as a sign of weakness that you got to prop yourself up. You got to give yourself, some kind of hype or whatever for being something that I really don't think you are.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to that point we made earlier that it just like with the whole alpha male thing, and I'm the boss, I'm the king, whatever. Most of the people who are that don't have to broadcast it. They don't have to say it. They just be it. So when we hear this, I'm the independent boss babe, or I, a strong independent woman. A lot of times we it's almost like fake it till you make it sort of thing. Is what I hear in my head. Is like I'm just going to say this and pretend it's true until I become that. But all those people who are that, they don't have to proclaim it. They don't have to say it. They don't have to tell the whole world. They just are it. And so when we hear those things, like he was saying, it's kind of like you put the mask on, or you're trying to get some kudos. You want some congratulations. You're a grown adult and you're taking care of your business. Good for you. But that doesn't mean that when we hear that, especially as guys, especially on the dating world, that it turns us on or makes us think, oh, that would be a good partner. Usually quite the opposite. Now, there was some debate when we had our little roundtable the other night about whether that is a turn on or not. One of the guys was like, yeah, I love that. But then when we got deeper into the conversation, it turned out that he's willing to be, and most of us guys are, we're willing to be supportive of a woman in her career. But most of those women that we're supportive of are the women just doing it. They're grinding it out. They're not out there looking for kudos. They're not out there like, pat me on the back. I got out of bed this morning and went and made some money. They're just doing it. And usually those women are in their feminine, you know, being in their goddess nature, leading from that space. And so, yes, we as men don't have any problem with our women's working. Most of the time, we all need to work because of how the bills are going, the taxes, everything else. So we all got to work. So we need to support each other that way. But what we're saying is, when we see all this, it seems a little false. It seems like you're putting on a mask. And a lot of times, those who can and do don't even have to say it; they just are it. So when we hear
Yeah.
you proclaim it from the mountaintop, I'm an independent boss babe, I'm a strong independent woman, it kind of gives us the ick. Kind of like, really? Then why you got to say it so loud?
Yeah, you fronting basically. You putting on a front. That's how it comes across to men in general. 51 out of 100 men hear that and they think, whatever, man. Like whatever. Like you
Whatever.
claim, like I
Whatever.
said, you claim all that, but then when it comes to get, I've never heard in this strong independent woman narrative that some lead with. I never heard in the argument for equality anybody ever say, you know what? I think we should make the whole draft laws kind of apply to
Mhm.
both genders. I think we should make it illegal for 18-year-old females to not register for the draft that we haven't had since Vietnam. But still, I think we should, make everything equal in those kind of ways. That would be some strong independent energy kind of stuff. But when you lead with all that, the impression that comes across to men is really just not impressed. I mean,
Mhm.
not impressed at all because it's like come on, man. Let's not pretend that things are going to be equal across the board when things really get real.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that most guys, and I know we think and feel when we hear that and we see that, is this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a headache. This is not something I want to add into my life. And these are the ladies a lot of times that are the serial daters. They run through relationships because they're never happy because they're trying to be something and take on a burden that wasn't meant to be theirs in the first place. Like I know a lot of you ladies are pissed off right now and mad at us because you're like, you're talking about me or you're putting ladies down. It's like, no, we're trying to tell you that for a man that you want to come into your space, you got to make space for him. So that means we would like you to be in your feminine. And if you would get into your feminine nature and flow from that, we would come in and fulfill our role as the masculine side and take care of a lot of those things that you don't want to be taken care of. Like I see so many ladies like prematurely aging because they've decided to take on this independent boss babe persona. They're operating from their masculine and they're wearing themselves out because they're taking on too much. Like, stop wearing yourself out. I know you're tired. You don't have to do everything. And we as men want to come in and help. That's part of our job. We want to come in and be the protector and the provider. We want to be there for you, but you got to leave space for us. And speaking of living space, we're going to take a break. We are the Mad Bit of Masculine. This is KLDC, and we'll be right back. I almost lost that one. I looked down. It was
Yeah,
like at
yeah,
4 seconds. I was like, uh oh.
Mhm. You're right on time, though. Right on time.
Oh,
Man, I
man.
just,
All right.
yeah, man. This, I don't know. We'll get into it. Hey, I got
Let's make
actually,
some more ladies mad. Let's go.
yeah, yeah. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm
Okay.
okay.
I'll let you start. You can get the smoke this time.
All right, I'll get this vote. We're back.
And we're back. Yes, we are.
Mad Men of Masculinity, KLDC, 1220 AM in the Mile High City. Most of the time you take all the heat, man. Because most of the time you're a hater, man.
I,
Most of the
I
time
just run off at the
you
mouth.
just
Yeah, I
bitter,
know. I'm
man.
a line stepper,
You do,
mature
man.
line
Most
stepper.
of the time you do, and most of the time I get guilt by association, and I'm just like, it
What
just
if I
is
say I'm
what it
getting
is.
you in trouble? Look at that
People
big
just assume
smile.
that everything. People assume that everything you say, I said, whatever. I've heard that from
Hey,
several
we're a
different
team. We're a
places
team.
and sources. There's guys that we know that have thought that, and women too. But
That's okay.
but I'm okay with that. Like, this is my opinion, man, and that's what we do. We get on here, we talk about our opinions. Like I said, sometimes two men, sometimes four men, and this being one of those, generally speaking, four men. But even if we were to speak two men, I would say, from my perspective and my experience in life, at 52 years old, having been there, done that, having, won and lost at the relationship game, multiple times, um, I would say two men, you don't want that. Like that,
Mm-mm.
that's a headache, man. It's just whenever you see that, like, run, do not walk to the nearest exit. Like, seriously, just kind of let it chill, let it marinate, and just have them wonder why every guy just kind of turns and walks away, which might be why a lot of women get ghosted.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, it's one of those things that if it keeps happening over and over again, maybe the common factor is you. But I would say to men, like, when you come across that, when you're out there, because yeah, we do interact with a lot of men based on a lot of things that we do, and we hear these things from men, and if there's a guy listening, man, when you come across that in our culture, if you're dating and you just get any sniff or whiff of that, man, just say thank you, but no thank you. Like, seriously, because the older you is gonna think however old you are, the older you is going to thank the younger you for not trying to get on the mechanical bull of, quote unquote, somebody that leads with strong, independent woman.
Yeah, it was something I had to learn personally because wanting to be a professional speaker, wanting to be a professional author, for a lot of years, I was drawn to those ladies who did those same things. I thought, oh, yeah, we could be a power couple. Yeah, we'll both be on stage, we'll be rocking the house. And it doesn't leave a lot of synchronicity, it doesn't leave a lot of polarity, it doesn't leave a lot of space for harmony, which is the blending of two energies, which is the blending of two chords and sounds, which is the blending of two people. And Kirk is a great example now where he's very much the onstage person and his girl is very much the behind the scenes person. And that's really what, for a healthy relationship, you need to have both sides. And so, gentlemen, if you come across this lady, if you're a behind the scenes person, maybe she's somebody to talk to. If you're on the stage person, if you want to be up front, probably not. And if you are out dating, just take some time, ask some questions. You'll get to find out who she is and all these things. Because so many times what we hear and what we feel when we hear these things is that she's putting on her front. She's been told this is what she needs to be. She's been told this is how to be. And she doesn't realize that this is not what men want. This is not how men want to operate in relationships. And it's interesting. I've seen so many videos pop across my timeline recently where they go out and the guy with the microphone goes out with his phone and he's doing little TikTok videos asking questions. And one of the questions he asked was like, ask all the ladies, what kind of body type do you think men like? And they all said BBL, BBL, BBL. Do they like natural? BBL, BBL. Then every guy they ask, they're like natural. I like natural. I prefer natural. I don't need all this silicone and all this pump up stuff, and they look weird, and it just makes it look like they don't feel comfortable in their own skin. They've got to doctor up the thing, and it's the same sort of feeling we get when we hear independent boss babe or I'm a strong independent woman. It's like you've been told this is what you need to be, but it's antithetical and anti what most men want. And so we are here talking to men and for men, but also talking to you ladies, trying to help you out that what you've been told is wrong. Most of us men don't want that. We would like you to be more in your soft feminine nature. And if you do have a business, we would like to help you in that business. We'd like to help you as the goddess, strong feminine woman that you can be, but not in your masculine energy as a independent boss babe. A lot of that just turns us off. And so we're trying to be helpful. Take it for what it is.
I tell you, there's probably a good portion of women that would tune out this conversation by
Totally.
now for sure
Oh,
because it contradicts everything that culture and society is telling them. I don't think there's anything wrong. And man, again, speaking to men, man, there's nothing wrong with a strong woman. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a woman that can support you, that can be there for you. When it gets tough and when you're carrying the load, there's nothing. I mean, that there's nothing wrong with a strong woman that can go. Man, I think about my great grandmother.
mm-hmm.
Man, I mean, my mom was. I mean, man, she was the backbone of everything. I mean, she carried every burden or helped carry every burden of every cousin, aunt, uncle, everybody in our whole. I mean, she was the star at the top of the family Christmas tree, man. And my mom would. I mean, man. I mean, you talk about strong. Oh boy, and my family is full of strong women as a result. And I love that. I have daughters. I have granddaughters. I want them to be strong. Um, when it comes to relationship or our relational being, I think you cross a line when you add strong with independent. Because if you're independent, then that means you're having aversion to being interdependent. And if you cannot be interdependent, then how can we mesh and weave who we're going to be together? How can my strength lean on your strength and your strength lean on my strength in all the appropriate times in life when we go through adversity? And so, the strong independent, when you put those two together, that's when it becomes masculine, because when that strength is masculine, that's the thing that is ultimately going to be a plane burner for men. Like I just would tell guys, man, when they lead with those two things, they're 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 confusing the strength with what their true strength is, and femininity is way more powerful than masculinity, in my opinion, in a whole lot of ways, man. And the
Yep.
world needs more femininity. The world doesn't need more masculinity. The world needs more femininity.
Yeah, true femininity. And one of the things I'll quote one of my favorite female strong thought leaders, Teal Swan, and she talks about this. Femininity cannot be femininity without a supporting masculine influence. Masculinity can be masculinity on its own because that's what masculinity is. It's independent. We're supposed to go out and kill you know, the food and bring it home. We're supposed to be able to operate independently. But for the woman to be in her goddess nature, to be that strong, independent woman, or to be that strong woman like grandma was, she had grandpa, she had that masculine support. And like for most of us, the way and the path to our greatest version of self is support from the opposite. So most men are the best version of themselves when they have a woman that they're providing for, when they have a woman to give them purpose in life. Most women cannot be their greatest version of themselves without a strong masculine influence to support them in being their feminine. When you're trying to be both, when you're trying to be masculine and feminine, you're skewing your feminine nature. You're your best version, you're your best mother, your strongest feminine nature, your goddess essence, when you have that masculine influence taken care of by another man, another masculine person there to hold that space for you so you can focus on your feminine. And the feminine is, like you said, all about relationship. It's all about connection. It's all about community. And when you're trying to be quote unquote independent, you're in your masculine and you're not in the feminine nature that will bring you that guy you want. You're not in your feminine nature that will be the complement to that masculine man, that masculine influence that you need as a woman to be the greatest version of yourself. So if you want to play both roles, okay, but that's just taking away from the strongest version of you. The most powerful version of you is you in your feminine, in your goddess nature. And so we're hoping to help you see that so that you can generate that energy and bring in that masculine support that you want and need so that you don't have to play both roles, so that you can be the best version of yourself. And so that man that you attract in that comes in can be the best version of himself by supporting you. That's all we're saying. It's a give and take game. It's a service of service game. We're just here to support you in getting what you actually want, what you tell us you want. But what you're doing and what you've been told and how you're operating is antithetical to what you actually want.
Why would you want to play both roles? Like, why would you want to carry masculine and feminine? Like, if you have a natural gifting of femininity, man, why would you want to? Masculinity is ugly, man. It is dirty and it is dangerous and bloody and violent and it. I mean, it just is. I don't understand. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't like if you have that available, like if you're born with that innate beauty, that innate gift called femininity, like man, why would you even want to follow what society says and become masculine? Like that's a raw deal. Like you get gypped. You are really getting robbed. I mean,
Yeah.
you're buying wolf tickets. Man, that is something you just shouldn't. And I would definitely say to men in general, absolutely 100%, man. If you come across a woman that claims to be an alpha babe or alpha, quote unquote, alpha woman, I mean, for sure, like put some garlic around your neck, get a wooden stake, and I'm telling you, just run. Just trust me and just run. I love that video that you posted not too long ago of the difference between an alpha man and a masculine man.
Yeah.
And if an alpha woman is out here hunting and all this other kind of stuff, it's like I don't want you coming home smelling like you've been on the hunt all day. Like that's disgusting. I don't want you being an alpha. That's the farthest thing I want you to be when we're home at the end of the day.
Yeah, that was Lisa Nichols, who you talk about, actual boss babe, actual goddess energy, like doing her
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like she was a single mother. She built her career by herself. And then she attracted this man, and she was having this whole conversation about all these alpha men coming after her. And he basically told her, like, look, I'm a masculine man. I'm not an alpha man. Alpha men are up front, they're hunters, and they're short term. They're here to hunt you, they're here to capture you, and then they're here to let you go, to move on to the next hunt. A masculine man is a foundational man, is here to be there as your support to fulfill that opposite side of his masculine to your feminine. And a lot of these ladies who actually get what they want, they find a man to support them in their feminine, so they don't have to play both roles, so they can have the best of both worlds. And we as men, we would like to do that. We want to be that masculine to your feminine. So we are asking you politely to stop listening to the narrative, stop listening to your broke and lonely, upset girlfriends. Be in your feminine, find your goddess nature, attract a man who can be in his masculine for you so that you can both support each other and be the best versions of yourself. That's all we're saying. It may sound harsh and you may not like the way it's coming across because there's a bunch of dudes, two guys here on the screen telling you how to be a woman, but we're just saying what we see from the male perspective and what we'd like to see moving forward. And speaking of moving forward, it's time for our last break. We'll be right back. We are the Madmen of Masculinity, and this is KLDC. Word.
We making all of them mad today.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the truth.
These are our best episodes. They get mad, but they like to watch. It's like the soap opera.
Yeah. It's the truth though. This is the truth. I mean, this is opinion, but it's well learned. It's wisdom, pure opinion.
Yeah. This is wisdom, experiential experience from two guys who have been messing it up for long enough to learn something.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
That's the way it is. Ready to go?
Yeah.
Yes, we're back.
Your boys are back. Fourth quarter, put up your fours. Put up your fours. You only got to deal with us for another 13 minutes, folks. This is only going to be tough. Put on your hard hat. I was going to put on I got a safety vest. I was going to put on my safety vest, man. I forgot.
Players and all the warning
I forgot to put on my safety vest. I got a hard hat and a safety vest here, man. I was going to put it on because this is a danger zone to me, man.
Is that your village people outfit? What you got going on there?
Yeah. Hey, man, none of your business, man. I got a closet with some stuff I put on sometimes, man.
In the bedroom with my girl, like none of your business. You let go.
I got some stuff I put on sometimes, man. On the weekends, man. What's something?
We ain't talking baby oil.
Hey, man. Hey. Baby oil is no longer allowed, man. You can't even reference baby oil these days, man. That's I feel
bad. Johnson losing lots of money now. That baby oil sales
come down, man. Nobody want to buy no baby oil.
Nobody want to be seen carrying out no baby oil, no place.
No, everybody switched to getting it shipped to their house. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be seen buying baby oil, man. No, not at all, man. But this whole notion today, man, of the strong, independent woman in our culture and our society. I've actually seen more and more women in the media and social media spaces kind of advocating for femininity, advocating for if you will, gender roles, or advocating for women to kind of back off of some of the narrative that's being pushed down your throat. There's a reason why culturally, there's several reasons why culturally, we have a breakdown of relationship in our society. And that's because there's narratives that are being pushed through media, through social media, that are literally the breakdown to the things that make us, the things that make us the way we're wired. And this is one of those things, man, when we have a female narrative that's being pushed, that you got to be strong and independent. That's just the exact opposite of where you need to be.
Yeah, I mean, the basic, and I love that you brought that up, that a lot of ladies now, you see them on social media, like they figured it out. They're talking about they want to be feminine, they want to have more femininity in their lives, and that there needs to be more femininity. And we agree, because whether it was planned, whether you want to follow the conspiracy theory or not of killing the nuclear family, the American family household, and pushing men out of the home, demonizing men and masculinity, telling women they need to be independent boss babes, which means they're in their masculine, so they don't have room for a healthy masculinity in their lives. All of these things push us away from the norm, how we were created, all of these narratives and all of this clickbait, whatever you want to call it, that we've been spoon-fed and shoved down our throats for the last 10, 20 years. is pushing us away from our natural beingness. Most ladies, when they get honest, will say, I want a man who will make me feel like a woman, who makes me feel safe. And the only way, I'm sorry, ladies, for you to get that is to be in your feminine so the man can be in his masculine and do his job by being a provider and protector and making you feel safe. But so much of what we see today is I'm just going to get mine. It's all about the money and the paycheck. And so it's pushed men away from relationships, which has pushed ladies more into their masculine, into the business world. All of these narratives that you're being told are taking away from the things you want. So stop listening to social media, stop listening to the news, stop listening to all these narratives about how to get what you want. And for God's sake, stop listening to broke, angry single women about how to get a man. We're trying to help you out.
Absolutely. If you wanna be hard headed, thick headed, and do you boo boo, and if you wanna blow off everything that we're saying, and if you wanna say that we're not right, even though we're telling
It's
you
okay.
what men think and are saying and all that kind of stuff, then fine. Go ahead. Just fine. Do you boo boo and get the results that come along with that. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And if you want to be that quote unquote lead with the strong independent woman, you got to tell people you're a strong independent woman, then fine. Then don't complain when you end up with a man who can't make decisions, a man who waffles back and forth, a man who bows down to every bit of conflict, who jumps behind you in the dark alley, the man that can't lead at all, the man that doesn't plan dates, the man that doesn't have anything going on, the man that doesn't have purpose, the man that you can't stand. When you keep ending up with that kind of guy, please at some point look in the mirror and realize that it ain't everybody else. It ain't all men out here. And maybe the common factor is you leading with the fact that you are determined to be a strong, independent woman. And when you're a strong, independent woman, you attract a certain kind of man, and that's what you're gonna get. Love it or leave it.
And it brings up a good point. And I want to, as from the Mad Men, want to apologize to all you feminine ladies who appreciate, would like to have traditional relationships, and who are suffering alongside us because of the feminist narrative of strong, independent, boss babe women. Because now men are afraid to approach, they're afraid to be masculine, they're afraid to, like, I've seen so many of these videos where it's like, they don't accept the results of their feminist narrative and their feminist thinking, where, okay, you want to be feminine, you want to be equal, you want to be a strong independent boss babe, fine, put your suitcase in the overhead by yourself, carry your bags yourself, do your chores yourself. But then you see all these ladies going, what happened to all the men? I was carrying all these groceries and nobody offered to help me. Well, yeah, that's what happens when you push this feminine strong alpha babe narrative and you demonize masculinity, so that the men, if they do approach you and offer to help you, half of them are going to get scorned and try to cancel or put on blast on social media because they try to be helpful. They wanted to be in their masculine and they wanted to be of service. And then you make fun of them and you call them creepy or you call them this or that and make all these allegations about this man who was just trying to be helpful. You do that enough, you get what you have today, where most men won't approach. They're not coming across the room to talk to you. They're not going to offer to help you with your flat tire or your bags at the airport. They're going to leave you alone to be the strong, independent boss babe. And results often harsh, always fair. These are the results of your actions when you operate from this feminist ideology of independent boss babe.
And unfortunately, the same way that the narrative is being pushed to women to be these strong, independent women, quote unquote, that same echo of the narrative is telling men to go be nice guys, to go
Mm-hmm.
be feminine, to be something that we're not as well. And that is equally as detrimental to the state of being. Because then, you got men trying to be women. You got men, there's no, the big complaint is men taking over women's sports. There's
Who's to
there's
blame
no
for that?
threat. There's no threat in the NFL of a woman coming in and taking a player's job, right? And so you have a category of men, and some would call them incels. Some would call them, I don't know, all the other whatever quotes and names.
Mhm.
But either way, you got a population of men who don't want to be alone, and so they almost adapt to the sign of the times, and they become more feminine, so they can get what is an increasing population of these strong, independent, boss babe women, and so the unfortunately, that same narrative is pushed on the male side too. And like you said, man, we have to apologize not for nothing that we're doing, but just sorry that it sucks that the feminine women out there that want a good man to cover them and protect them and want to be feminine, have to deal with scarred men, have to deal with men who don't know how, who were never taught, were never trained, were never whatever, and on top of that, are conditioned to be the opposite. So we're sorry for that too. Apologize, man. That sucks.
Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, that's just the way of the world. The only advantage men have is that we're trained to be independent. We're trained to be, take care of ourselves and do our thing and go about our business and suck it up and all that stuff. So that's the only advantage we have in this horrible narrative that's going on, because we would rather be your support. We would rather be the masculine to your feminine. We would rather be that man there helping you with your bags and helping you with the chores and all those things. But we're being told not to be. We're being told, we have to use certain pronouns, and that we, these soft beta males and incels and all this stuff. Now they get to put on a dress and act like women and go share your bathroom and stuff. I don't agree with it. Most of us don't agree with that, but that's what we're being told. And so, unfortunately, there's always repercussions to every decision. And the repercussion to a lot of these decisions, especially this feminist narrative of independent, strong boss babe, is you don't need, want, or have to have our help or even want men around. You think you can do it all on your own, which unfortunately is a very shallow view of the world. Because if we just look at the world in general, the US, for example, if all the ladies quit working tomorrow, things would go on okay, because almost 90% of infrastructure is worked by men. But if the men left, things would go bad real quick. So yeah, maybe you don't have a man in your house that you think you're doing it all on your own, but you don't fix your car, you don't change your tires, you don't do the electric, you don't do the water. All these jobs are done by men. So all we're saying is pay attention to these narratives being fed to you and look at the reality of the world. Stop getting in these echo chambers of feminist narrative that you can do it all by yourself and then get miserable because you have to do it all by yourself. That's just the way of the world. If you get stuck in this echo chamber, that's what's going to end up happening. So we're hopefully shedding some light on the fact that it doesn't have to be that way. But all we would like you to do is go to your natural nature, your natural feminine nature, be who you probably want to be deep down, so that we can be who we want to be deep down, so we can support each other and create a better world.
Yeah. One of my secret, I don't know what you call it, but guilty pleasures, I guess you could say, is I've been watching Married at First Sight.
Oh Lord.
And this season it happens to be in Denver. And two of the couples come to mind in terms of what we're talking about. One of the couples, as soon as they left to go on their honeymoon, they went to go travel and had their suitcases. And one of the husbands just like got his suitcase and took off, and she was struggling with her big old suitcase, and it really stood out. And man, we're sitting there like, man, what a jerk, And she even his wife even brought up like, that he didn't help her with their bags and all that kind of stuff. And he didn't think nothing of it. He was like, well, I got my bags, you get your bags.
Yeah.
And then there's another couple where, the guy he's just wishy-washy and, just kind of flippy floppy in a whole lot of different ways. I won't even get into all the ways that he is. But the situation fell apart with him and his wife, and she happens to end up carrying a whole lot of the structure and the weight and the space for their relationship. And in both of those examples, it just hit me that in both of those examples, neither one of the males had any relationship with their father. Neither one of them had any kind of training or any of that kind of stuff. And one of the common themes too is, the several of the women on there, kind of yeah, I'm the strong, independent woman. I'm the boss babe, and it's like we see this thing happening in our culture, and it's unfortunate. And I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, and so we, as the madmen, will do our duty and speak our opinions and try to shed some light on these issues. And hopefully, after you have your ick moment, you can actually stop, take a breath, count to 10, and actually hear what we're trying to say because we wish the best for you. We want the best for you. We want you to have what you want to have. But that takes a little bit of accountability and it takes a little bit of reality awareness for you to say, I want to be a feminine woman. I will get in my feminine so I can have a masculine man. And in that way, we can both support each other. We can be the power couple we want to be. And you get to have what you want. But stop following a narrative that's meant to tear us apart. That's all we're saying. It's you're just being fed lies and it's not working out. I mean, are you happy? Is it working out for you? Probably not. So you probably need to do something different. And until next time, we are the Madmen, and we are out.
Out.